will be here simply to cause understanding. So you must be very ready and your mind must be very sharp. Okay? Will be here. So I want you to be very ready and your minds must be very sharp because I'm going to contradict with so many things. Okay? Give me a one if you are ready. So make sure your mind is very sharp. Make sure your mind is very sharp. I'm going to contradict with so many things. But my overall thing is just to enable you understand. Because your understanding will be a very, very important point to success. That's why I've given a lot of time. That's why I've given a lot of time for many people to come in because today is not going to be a question and answer session. It is, I'm going to deal with something in Royalq. That's why I'm going to contradict with so many things. And because of that, that's why I've taken my time to start off this class. And my contradiction is basically to bring understanding. Okay? So I have shared my screen and I believe all of us can be able to see my screen. If you can see my screen, drop me a 2 in the chat. Good. Now, before you start trading, before you start trading, before you start trading, or you have already traded, before you bring in your new capital you want to use trading, you have been trading with $100, you want now to introduce in another money. Number one, set a trading goal. Set a trading goal. This trading goal could be how many dollars you would like to make when your trade wins. I would take it per day, but since we do not control the market, I may not go with the philosophy of a day, but have a trading goal. But this trading goal that you want to create of how much profit you would like to make when the trade wins must be risk apprehended. For example, I want to make $5. Or I want to make $2. Or $3. Whenever I win a trade. Because when you set things like, I want to make $50, I want to make $100 on a trade, you will expose more capital. You will find that you need to expose more capital. In simple terms, how many of you understand that if you expose more capital, you increase the risk? If you understand that, give me a yes in the chat. The more capital you expose, the higher risk it becomes. That's why it is not a good approach to plan to expose a lot of capital. But it is a good approach to have a goal. I said I'm contradicting with so many things, but I just want you to understand what I'm talking about. For example, whoever will miss this class, they will regret. Whoever will miss this class, they will regret. No, why is someone calling me? Just stop. Wandise ndibula nkyekiro. Eh. Anti njagala otukire ku nsonga. Sorry, guys. I usually, sorry, I was not supposed to pick him, but he's a guy who introduced me to crypto, my friend. I pick him at any time. But let's go. Now, come up with a trading goal. For example, I'll take the bare minimum. I have $100. Listen to me. I told you I'm contradicting with everything. Please listen. I have $100. The maximum, because guys, listen to me very well. The smaller the capital, the bigger the amount of money you expose. The bigger the capital, the lesser amount of money you expose. Does that make sense? If I have $100, I can expose up to $50. If I have $10,000, I can't expose $5,000. If you have understood that statement, give me a yes in the chat. If I have $100, I can expose $50. But if I have $10,000, I can't expose $5,000. I don't know if people are adding up. Does that connect? If I have $200, Maximally, I can expose $100. But if I have $2,000, I can't expose $1,000. I don't know if what I'm talking about makes sense. Are we connecting? I told you today is a very hard class. You need to be very sharp. Let me repeat. Let me repeat. Let me repeat. If I have $100, I can expose $50. But if I have $3,000, I cannot expose 1,500. You know why? You know why? Look here. When I have $3,000, I have more capital power. But if I have $100, I have less capital power. Give me a one, if that makes sense. If I have $3,000, I have more capital power. If I have $100, I have less capital power. For example, when I have $3,000, and let's say the coin takes off $500, if this market goes against me, my $2,500 can pull me back to profit. But if I have $100 and I expose off, let me say $20, the $80 cannot pull me back in profit. Does that make sense? I don't have capital power with my 100, but I have capital power with my 3,000. Look here. If I have $100, I can expose $50. But if I have $1,000, I can't expose 500. Give me a two if you have understood. The bigger the capital, the lesser the exposure. The smaller the capital, the bigger the exposure. I told you my lesson is a little bit contradicting. Look here. Let's go to, if I have $50, the maximum profit of 3% I can get is 1.5. Meaning that I can learn to expose more so that I can be making some little good money. But if I have big capital, I need to allow my robot to expose my money in bits. Have you understood my lesson so far? I told you my lesson is a little bit contradicting. And I will not be specific on what you should do. I just want you to understand. Now, let's go to setting up the board, where I want everybody to understand. There is no specific setting that this works better, this is the best, this is the setting for this capital, this is the setting for this trade. Am I speaking to somebody? There is no specific something. This is for this capital, this is for this capital. There is nothing like that. I told you my lesson today is different. You must be very sharp to understand what I'm talking about. Meaning, I'm not trying to bring anybody who's coming up with settings. This is for this capital, this is for this capital down. I'm just bringing understanding. There are three things that determine your success in the business of Royalq 3. Number one, entry. When do you enter the market? When are you picking the trade? When? Entry is key. Does that make sense to someone? That's why. That's why you need to focus so much on your entry. Because no matter how big your capital is, if you make wrong entries, you will suffer. Give me one. So when I talk about entries, when you come here, maybe you want to trade DGB. If you don't know what to do, use indicators in 15 minutes. Indicators like MACD. Indicators like KDJ. Indicators like RSI. To give you a good what? Entry. If you can't make a good entry, you can't win. Is that clear? I may not dig deep into this. So number one, good entry. Number two, which is the topic of today, is the settings. And there are a few things you needed to look at. Let's open our Royalq. Hey. On the new update, what did Royalq add? It added on something called conversion records. What's up with this? Conversion. What's up? Convert. I'll give it time, but I think it's just a new entry that Royalq created. But then let's move. While here, what we are looking at is creating your strategy. Someone is saying, is it me who's not following? Today's class, like I said, it might be a little bit hard. But those present, are you following? Someone is saying they can't understand anything. But those present, are you following? It's a little bit hard class, but try to stay around maybe along the lines. I'll make sure you understand. It is a little bit hard, I know, for especially for slow learners. It is a it's a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson, but I have nothing to do. Let me continue. So when you tap on my strategy setting, I didn't talk about hiding capital. Why should you hide your capital? I don't understand you. So you want to create a strategy, and your strategy should start from your goal that at least every trade I take, I should at least make $2. I should at least make $3. Don't set goals of I should at least make $50. I should at least make $100. Give me one if I'm clear, because the bigger the expectation, the bigger the capital exposed, and the higher the risk. So don't come up with big goals. Am I clear? Give me a yes if I am. Don't come up with goals. Every trade you take, you should have a small expectation of 2, 3, 5. Don't come up with, I want a 50, $60, 80. But I'm also going to show you how you set a $2. If that coin is good, if that coin works better, it gives you $20. You should expect less unless the market outperforms your expectation. Am I speaking to somebody? Am I speaking to somebody? That's why if you're going to use indicators like MACD, like KDJ, like RSI, your take profit should be 1.3, should be maximum 2. Unless if you have done technical analysis, that's when you should have take profits of 3 and above. Am I clear? Your ultimate goal should be very little profit. Let the market outperform your expectation, but do not have high expectations yourself, or else you will suffer. Now do this. Let's create a strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to contradict with so many people's thoughts and ideas, but I'm not against them. Look here. Listen to me very well. I don't want people who do not listen to me. Let's start from here. The first buying amount. Could you drop an idea of what the first buying amount means? Could you drop an idea in the chat of what you think the first buying amount means? Says your first amount in the market, your first entry in the market, the money that enters the market first. Simple as that. The amount of money that enters the market. I think it's the first amount of money that enters the market first. Now, I don't want to contradict with anybody. Listen to me. If I have $100, I can say this is where decision plays part. That on my capital, I go back here. Listen to me. I don't want to contradict with anybody. Let me say I have $500. I say I want to expose $200. And if this coin continues going down, I'll use my $300 in margin calls. It becomes my personal decision as long as I have made a good entry. Is that clear? Is that clear? You need to come up with a certain amount of money you want to expose and a certain amount of money that you want to use in the margin call. But don't do the following. I have $10,000. Let me expose $8,000 and the 2,000 helps in margin calls. I have $100. Let me expose 80 and the 20 helps me in margin calls. Are you getting the difference? This is what I'm saying is wrong. But I can expose $150 and then the 350 helps me in margin calls. Have you understood that? Why am I exposing 150? I don't know. I told you I'm contradicting with so many theories. The reason I'm doing this, I'm trading with a goal. How I expose it is what we are going to discuss. So come up with a certain amount of money according to your capital that you would like to expose. If my first point is home, drop me a 2 in the chat. If my first point is home, drop me a 2 in the chat. Come up. I'm not going to tell you, I just teach people to understand. I'm not going to tell you if you have this capital, expose this. If you have this capital, expose it. But have you understood? Give me a yes if you have. Have you understood? Don't do it vice versa. The money that remains in your account must be bigger than the one you're exposing. How can I teach that? The money that remains in your account must be bigger than the money you're exposing. I don't know if someone has understood. Meaning, if I have $1,000, I can't expose 800 and remain with 200 in margin calls. I can expose maximum 300 and remain with 700 in margin calls. Are you able to catch up? Someone is asking why. Because I don't control the market. I can only control my capital. Look here. If I have $300, I can't expose 200 and remain with 100. How many have understood? That is the first decision you make. That is the first decision you make. So, any exposure any exposure between 0 to 30% of your capital maximally. So anything, is it 15% of your capital? Is it 20% of your capital? Maximally 30% of your capital. Now, when you're making your decision, you have $500. You will say, how many coins do I want to trade? I want to trade 2 coins. In each coin, I'll use $250. Good. So on this $250, I want to expose how much? 20% of my capital. That is $50. Are we together? Or you say, no, me, I want to expose 30% of my capital. That is 75. That is the first step of your decision. Okay, I have $300. How much do I want to use per coin? I want to use the 150 per coin. How much can I expose? It could be 15%, which is $22. It could be up to a maximum of 30%, which is $45. The remaining balance, am I speaking to someone? The remaining balance is going to help you if the market goes against you, which we can discuss. But the first decision, so it means that if I'm going in with $45, if I'm using the MACD or the KDJ or the RSI, I will take a maximum of 2%. So if I take 2%, I'll make 0.9. If my exposure is $50 and my take profit is 1.5, I'll make 0.7. Am I connecting? So if at the end of the day, I make 5 trades, I'll have $3. Are we following? Now look here, guys. If I expose $50 and the market does not go in my favor and it goes against me, means that my $100 will join the rest, and now the amount exposed will be 150. Are you seeing the difference? Give me a 2 if you are seeing the difference. I had $500. I decided to say I'm going to trade 1 coin with $500, and I exposed the 30% of $500, which is 150. If this coin won and I had taken a 2%, I'll make $3. If the market goes against me, and let me say $300 come in play, I will have more money exposed. And if I was taking 3% of this, of 300, now I'll make $9. Are we connecting? Are we connecting? Give me a yes in the chat. Now, I have already decided that I have $1,000 and I want to expose 30% of $1,000, which is 300. Now I'm dealing with people who always complain about floating loss. I'm handling all them together. It means that I'm going to come up with settings of $1,000, but my exposure is 300. Do we connect? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a 2 in the chat. I have $1,000 that I want to trade with, but I want to expose 300. I've seen people who talk much, but guys, these things are very simple. Now, as a trader, listen, when you enter from here, does it mean that the coin is going to immediately go up? I told you I'm contradicting with everybody, but I just want you to understand. When you enter a coin from here, does it mean immediately the coin is going to go up? Not necessarily. So you have a choice, depending on how you see things, to say, I'm going to put my 300 at once here, which is not the best way to handle, because if the robot trades in the market and it puts in this $300, the take profit is this one. When the coin rises by 1.3 and tries to come down by 0.3, the robot will sell and it will give you 1% of your $300. How many have understood that? If you put your $300 as your first buying amount, it simply means that from your entry, if this coin rises by 1.3 and comes down by 0.3, you will get 1% of $300. But I have a question. Would it be a bigger deal that these $300 of yours come in the market at bits? Let me know. Would it be a bigger deal that whenever this coin drops a little bit, let your robot bring in your $300 in bits, not at once? Now, look here, guys. When you decide to switch on this open double position, what you are trying to tell your robot, instead of you putting in $300, put in 600. When you switch on the open double position, you are not saying that whatever the robot will be buying, it will be doubling. It only works for this first buying amount. That instead of going in with 300, going with 600, the open double position doesn't work on margin calls. Give me a one if you have understood. So when you switch it this on here, you are saying, robot, instead of you going in with 300, who's calling? Wednesday. Sorry, guys. Are we there? Are we there? So, how many are okay with the first two? You could drop me a two if you're okay with the first two, the first buying amount and the open double position. So it means that if you put a 10 here, you are saying robot, instead of you putting 10, go with 20. Instead of putting 10, go with 20. So it means that if I want to expose $300 at once, I can put 150 here. So the robot will put $300. Is it clear? It will only for the first time. For the first time, the robot will put $300 if I switch on the open double position. But the rest of the margin calls will be as normal. Now let's go to here. Now remember, before coming up with these settings, I have made my goal clear. So the number of margin calls may not matter. Whether someone comes with 30, 50, 100, they may not matter. But understand this. The take profit you put here works on the first buy amount plus when the robot buys the first call, the second, the third, and fourth. The take profit you put here only works for the first call, the first buy amount, the first call, the second call, the third call, and the fourth call. If the robot only buys one call and the market rises, it will be the first buying amount plus the first call. Are we together? If the robot buys the first buying amount and the second call, it will be the first buying amount plus the first call, the second call to be your take profit. If the robot buys the third call, it will be the first call, the second call, the third call plus the first buying amount. If the robot wants to buy the fourth call, it will be the first buying amount, the first call, the second call, the third call, and the fourth call. How many have understood that? I told you my lesson is all about understanding. I could contradict with anybody, but I just want you to understand because there are no settings. Now look here. I know sometimes it's me who brings these ideas, but I just bring them because maybe some people do not understand. Even if I put 50 margin calls here, it is up to me to say, I want to expose my $300 at once, or let me bring my $300 in call 1, call 2, call 3, and call 4. Are you getting me? Give me one if you're getting me. I have a choice to expose my $300 at once, or introduce my $300 in call 1, call 2, call 3, and call 4. Am I clear? Am I clear? I have a question. Do I only have $300? I have a question. Do I only have $300? So I'm going to come here on how I'm going to introduce my $300. Now, here is the question. My goal is to expose my $300 in the market. Do I need these big drops? Because unless people understand this, they may suffer for nothing. Do I need these big drops? Give me some answers in the chat. I just want people to understand. Do I need these big drops? I've had people make videos. Julius taught at this. Now he's changing to this. Do I need these big drops? I just want common sense at work. I want to expose my $300. There is no, I'm not sure. This is logic. This is logic. This is logic. It has nothing to do with whether you are sure. I want you to apply common sense. I want to expose $300 in this coin. I have made a good entry. Do I need do I need? Now, it gets back to you. One person would say, one person would say, because when you use these drops, first on fact, the robot will delay to put in your $300, which could be a benefit. Am I connecting? Because it will wait for the market to drop 3%, another 4%, that is 7.5, another 4%. Are we adding up? Because maybe this is steady. It looks like to be a steady strategy. But I would come and say, me, I need my 300 very fast, and I put a 1. Because I know when the robot buys from 1, 2, 3, 4, it will give me the same take profit. Then I say 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 is 30. So if I want, it is 30. If my first buying amount is 5, if my first buying amount is 5, if my first buying amount is 5, this will be 150. If my first buying amount is 10, this will be $300. Is it okay? Give me a 1 if it's okay. Meaning, if I want to protect my capital, let me come back here. If I want to protect my capital, so if I put a 10 here, I know that the robot will double fast and put $20 in my account. Are you following? If it buys the first four, it will bring in 150, which will make it $170. Let me tell you. If I want to protect my $170, not to get into the market very fast in a controllable way, when I'm setting my coin, I'll switch on the AI margin call. If you have understood, give me a yes in the chat. If you have understood, give me a yes in the chat. When I'm setting a coin, when I pick a coin, let me say this one, rare, and I want to trade. I don't want the coin to swallow my capital for nothing. And I want to trade this coin. After putting in my settings, I'll switch on the AI margin call. If I have fear, give me a two if it is clear. If I have fear, let the AI protect my capital. Is that hard? Meaning, I understand that the robot will put in $20. If the market rises sharply, I'll only make profit of $20. Because if my first buying amount is 10 and the open double position is on, the robot will put in $20. If I want my robot to put in $100, I can still, I don't know if people have understood me, but those who have. How I understand I can put here 50. Meaning, if even I have $500, do you copy, guys? Even if I have $500, is it a crime to make my first buying amount take $100? I just want people to understand. Me, I'm not here tell you this is what you do with this capital. As long as you can understand, you can do anything with your capital. Because I know when I put 50 here, when I enter and the coin sells, it will give me profit of $100. It will give me profit of $100. And after my robot has bought, I turn this back to 100, to $10. I put $10. Meaning, I expect my robot to buy the first four margin calls and bring in another 300, making my exposure $400. Or I put this to 5, depending on your decisions you made with your capital. I put this back to 5. I'll be sure that if it buys 1, 2, 3, and 4, that would be $250 exposed. How many have understood? How many have understood? It's all about understanding. Now I know people about telling me, do I have now settings for any capital? Why people are calling me? Someone calls himself from Mugago Muto. When you check on him, he's very broke. Someone calls himself from Mugago Muto. When you check on him, he's very broke. Then why are you calling yourself from Mugago Muto, yet you don't have money? I told you today's class is very different. Do I have any settings for any capital? I told you I'm just contradicting myself, but I just want you to understand. Do I have settings for 100? I don't have mine. Do I have settings for 1,000? I don't have them. But when you start with a goal, no, you are just contradicting. Today's class is not for everybody. How many of you have discovered that? How many of you have discovered that today's class is not for everybody? And I know even me when I was starting. How many of you have already seen that today's class is not for everybody? Some people will go away from here when they have understood. Some will go away from here when they are confused. I tell you, some will go here when they have understood. Some will go here when they are confused. But those who started with me, are you following? Those who started with me from the start, are you following? We started with a goal. We started with a goal. Now, if you don't have a goal, is it possible for you to come up with such settings that I'm talking about? You can't. You are just setting. So you, for example, I want to expose $100, meaning that from the first buying amount to the four margin calls, if my program is to expose $300, let me first go back a little bit. If my program is to expose $150, should I only have $150 in my account? Some answers in the chat. No. At least I need 500. Meaning that if I go back to my calculator, because I see people usually complain, I don't make enough money. And my intention, now this goes back, my intention is to compound $100. And my take profit is 3%. And I'm looking for 300 successful trades, meaning I can make my first buying amount 50, open the double up, and I know that this coin will take $100. I know this coin will take $100. If this coin takes $100, I remain with 500. Since I have fear of the market, are we following closely, guys? On my 500, I have already exposed the 100, but I have fear of the market. I'll just come back here. I know that from the first call to the fourth call, the robot sells everything at once. But I have fear of the market. I know this is very good and it is 30. So if I make my first buying amount 5, so after my robot has put in the 100, I come back, change this back to 5. Meaning that it would be 5 times 30, which is 150, plus 100, plus 100, which is $250 for the first 4 margin calls and the first buying amount. So the remaining $250 of my capital will help me to keep making money when this coin keeps dropping. How many have understood? I'm not doing any cram work. I'm just bringing understanding plus logic. How many have understood? But I must switch on the AI margin call because I fear answers in the chat. Because I fear let the AI protect my capital. Now, here comes the question. If the robot only stops on $100, am I in business? If the robot only stops on $100, am I in business? Yes, of course. Yes. Guys, remember I started with a goal. Do I care? If it only gives me profit of $100, do I care? This is this is not a class for everybody. If it doesn't bring the balance in the market, do I care? If it sells that it only gives me profit of $100, do I care? Now, do you see? Look here. Do you see I'm trading coin A, exposed 500. I'm trading coin B, exposed 500. Even if in my account I have $800, will I trade any other coin? Even if in my account I have 800, will I trade any other coin? No. When coin A sells, I'll enter another one. But if none of them sell, I'll be like, I don't have business. How many have understood? You see, today's class is not for normal people. Guys, come up with your goal. Because I will know in my mind, back to the calculator, that if $100 my capital that I've exposed gives me 2%, I'll make $2. If this coin wins fast, if this coin wins fast, I'll only make $2. Meaning, if it's a good day and I only make 5 trades, I'll make $10. It looks like you are not having business. Not so. How many are following? It looks like you are not having business. But my friend, as others cry, you'll never cry like them. How many have understood? Hey, how many have understood? It will look like for you a stupid fellow, but my friend, you your risk appetite is normal. You are moving according to your strategy. If your take profit is $100 and for you take 3%, that would be $3. If the day is good and you make 3 trades, $9, done business. If you are trading 2 coins and both of them sell, the better. But you are trading with a goal. I don't know if people have understood, but I know it is a confusing class. Now remember how much of my capital is so far exposed? 250. Please, if you have not understood, go to your upline. No, you will 250 of my dollars is exposed on 4 margin calls. How much is my balance? How much is my balance? Now, look here, guys. Let me tell you. Even if I leave these settings as they are like this, with my AI margin call on, look here, guys. Even if I don't touch anything on my phone, I'm telling you logically. Even if I don't touch anything and I leave them as they are here, as they are, I don't come back to check anything here. Do you think it will be easy for my robot to buy the fifth call? Answers in the chat. If my AI margin call is on, will it be easy for my robot to buy the fifth call? Even if I don't change this, I'm just teaching you logic. Because I see people struggling with the market, the coin, not sleeping, they are having sleepless nights, they are calling me the whole night. Will it be easy for the robot to buy the fifth call? Meaning, when the robot doesn't sell, are we connecting, guys? When the robot doesn't sell, when the robot doesn't sell the first 4, I can come back and I say, okay, now let me start exposing my remaining capital slowly, slowly. Do you copy? Do you copy, guys? Okay, since it's not buying the 8th call and I see the coin is dipping, let me reduce the drop. How many are adding up? Let me at least, okay, did 2%, okay. Then instead of 32 times, let it buy twice. 5 times 2 is 10. Let me see if it will buy that one. Then I save. My friend, my friend, is there a headache here? Why are people not having sleepless nights? Is there a headache? Number one, it exposed $100. I'm in business. If it goes down, 50% of my capital is in. If it doesn't sell, I introduce one margin call at a time. How many are adding up? I introduce one margin call. Okay, it's like this robot is not buying this first the 50 call. Okay, okay. I want it to buy. Okay, let me make it like 1%. I'm like as normal as that. I don't suffer with the market. If the coin is very stubborn, let it buy at its own pace. How many have added? You see, I want, I don't know, I want to make things simple. There's no reason I should have headache on the market. But the most first important point is make a good entry. How many remember that? How many remember that? I need to come to the end of the call. How many remember that? Make a good entry. Question. When you make a good entry, do you control the market? Question. When you make a good entry, do you control the market? No. You make a good entry, you put in your settings, you switch on your AI to protect your capital. If it buys the fall and it doesn't rise, and you want it to introduce a few more margin calls, you just come and open one margin call at a what? One margin call at a what? At a time. It is delaying. It is delaying to buy the 50 call. Okay. Uh, okay. I had put one, eh? Let me reduce score. 0.5. Is that hard? Let it buy this fifth call now and we see. Because the market is getting too much stubborn. When markets get too much stubborn, you need to be very wise. You don't come, how many of you agree with me that even if you open 100 margin calls now, the market goes down and buys all of them? Let me see in the chat. How many of you agree with me? You might be good at opening margin call. You are very good. And the market is not caring. It is just on tutu. It is buying and nothing is happening. And people are busy telling you buy the dip. Which dip? Which dip am I buying? Just open one. It responds well and good. Because now, YouTube will remove the video if I add in the word Donald Trump. Let me leave. I will not talk about him. You see these days when you talk about him, YouTube takes down the video. Someone texts in the morning, changes his mind in the afternoon. But you see how you become very risk conservative. Here is my man. How many have understood today's class? It's very different. How many have understood this class? Those who have not understood, I don't know a way I can help you understand it. But my last call to action. How do you set a little take profit and get more if a coin moves in your favor? Are we ready for my last call? Then we call the class down. How do you get more profit? Now we at a time where you don't need to put a higher take profit. Okay? You just need to mitigate your risk. By the way, I'm not against other versions we have taught of default setting, conservative, radical. How many have understood that I'm not against, but I'm just talking about trading with a strategy, with a goal? How many have? I'm not talking about, I'm not against the previous. So if you are comfortable with the previous trainings, please go ahead. I'm not against them. I'm just bringing understanding. And the reason why I teach this is that the longer you stay in the business, you should not be behaving the same way. Do you connect? That's why me I bring in alternatives. Do you connect? I want I don't want someone who has been in the business and is doing things in a normal way. I just want you to understand so that you can do better. Now, look here, guys. The logic is here. If the coin is good, stop requesting for big tech profits. So, because this means when the coin rises by 1.3 and comes down by 0.3, which means here I will get 1%. Now, just do this. Maybe increase this to 1.5, decrease this to 0.1. If the coin rises by 1.5 and falls by 0.1, then the robot sell. If it stops on 0.01 and it still goes up, instead of you getting 1.5, you can get 5%. How many have understood that? If the coin stops on 0.01 and goes up, instead of it giving you 1.5, it can give you 5%. Now, why set 10, 80, 4, 3? For you can be 1.5 because back to our goal, back to our goal, back to our goal. If only $100 and I get 1 point, because if it rises by 0.5 and falls down by 0.1, I'll get 1.4%. Do you see that it will be a $1.4 profit? If the day is good and I make 2 trades, maybe I'll get 2.8. But if the coin goes down and puts in my $400, sorry, my 250 now by total, do you see? It will be now 1.4%, which will be $3.5. Hello? How many have understood? If you have done technical analysis, then for you take 3%, then it will be 7.5. If it remains on only the first buying amount, it will be $3. If you have traded 2 coins and all of them are good, and you make 7.5 on each, 7.5 on each times 2, those are $15. But is all your capital in the market? But is all your capital in the market? Do you see in total, we have only exposed $500? How many have seen that? How many have seen that? How many have seen that? We have traded 2 coins But maximum we have exposed $500. Do you see that we have $500 unused? Now, as you are moving around in the market, you find a sharp coin that is going to kill you with money. And how many of you have ever seen coins with a sure deal? Especially people who do technical analysis. How many of you have ever seen a coin that has less doubt and it looks like a sure deal? You open a coin and it looks like today it is money after money. Do you see how now you increase your appetite? And on your $500, hey, just a minute. You see now? Now when I find a sure deal, do I have some balance to help me? Do I have some balance to help me take charge of this one? Or what's why you haven't understood me? I may not go back to your question. Do you see now here on my 500, I will expose $300. How many have understood that? Now I have my balance of 500 that I don't use. As I'm moving around, I find a sure deal. I bring my 300. Boom! I take profit. I rest. How many have discovered that every day there is usually a sure deal? How many have discovered that every day there is usually a sure deal? Every day there is at least one coin. If you are those, especially those who are paying close attention to markets, every day there is usually a sure deal. Every day, at least one. Every day. Every day. You just put your first buying amount 150, it puts in 300. Do you see even when I'm exposing this 500, do you see that I still keep 200 unused? Do you see that I still even keep 200 unused? How many have seen that? No. You see, I'm very slow the other side. I'm a little buy here. And at the end of the day, my $1,000 could be able to make me between 20 to $50. How many have understood today's class? It was a hard class, but a very intentional class. You see, it must be in sub-bin mode real-time settlement. Please, if you haven't understood this class, please take off time, watch this video again, and try to understand. It has been an amazing moment to have you here. I wish you the best. If you have not understood, I have recorded the meeting. Try to take off. The video is on the YouTube channel. I may not drop it anywhere. I wish you the best. I may not have much to add. See you tomorrow. See you in the evening. See you in the evening. See you in the evening for question and answer session. I decided to teach this in the morning. See you in the evening. for question and answer session. Unless maybe it is our signal, but did I tell you on how to avoid coins that expose a lot of your money and cause you to get delisted? Did I talk about that? But I think I can talk about it in the evening. Did I do that? Did I teach you on how to pick coins and avoid coins that will be delisted? I did. I know people don't remember, but me, I know I did. I told you how you go on CoinMarketCap, find coins that are US related and real world assets. Avoid those jump questions, jump coins. You don't jump on anything unless you have done technical analysis. How many remember that? That you don't jump on anything unless you have done technical analysis? And I told you how you could find good coins on CoinMarketCap. I think I did. Because, yes, the top 100 coins, so that you avoid especially when you are just picking with MACD. I think I did that, especially when you are just picking with MACD, RSI, KDJ. You don't pick everything. You don't get excited. Did I stop you from, did I tell you to stop buying the most negative coins? I think I was here and I told you those idea, I'm buying this one that is most negative. Did I do that? And I told you you can buy a coin when it is just starting to go down. These ideas of just buying the most negative coins don't work. You need to first look at the coin. All right, guys, see you in the evening for question and answer session. This is not a question and answer session. I may not go into all those details because I have done my part. It is a big challenge for someone who's new to think that he can understand everything at the start. That's why we put up signals. Do you get our morning signals every day? How many of you receive signals every morning? Do we do that every morning? Do we send you signals every morning? So the reason why we put up signals is because we know you don't know what to do. So that as you wait, as you learn, you are trading. Does that make sense? The reason we send signals is that when you pay, you don't know what to do. So, traders, you wait. Ask your uplines to add you to the groups. Traders, you wait. Traders, you wait. Traders, you learn. Traders, you learn. That's why we do the trainings. Because as you make money, you are learning to pick by your own. Between 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. East Africa Standard Time, that's when we send the signals. Every morning. I wish you the best, guys. Thank you for today. It was nice time. See you in the evening for question and answer session. See you in the evening for question and answer session. Allow me stop here. It has been a nice time to have you all on the call. I don't add anyone to the group, guys. I don't have any group. I'm just a member of the Crypto Ambassadors, but I don't own the team. The team is